Hi, it's Tansel here. And today I want to talk about why it's so difficult to remember a name. One of the biggest problems I had when I was getting into memory was that my memory was absolutely terrible for recalling names. And I'd meet people and straight away forget what their name was. And this was ever since I was a little kid. I'd hear a name or even listen to someone talking and I'd forget. So I always thought I had this issue, and I didn't even, it didn't even seem as an issue. It just seemed more like, oh yeah, my natural progression of memory is terrible, and take it as that. But as I got more and more into memory, I realized that wow, it's actually not memory that's the problem. It's me. I haven't learned strategies, and I didn't realize there was such thing as strategies. So once I started reading more and more on memory, I realized that wow, these strategies actually not only exist, but it's really easy to remember names. So I wanted to explain why it's so difficult to remember names and what can you do to actually improve it so that you don't have the trouble as well that I did. And when you get older and older, it's useful for things like building relationships and rapport, and working with partners and all that sort of stuff. So it's actually absolutely crucial to know people's names in this day and age. And there really is no excuse. We can come up with, oh yeah, I've got a bad memory, or I'm naturally not good at these things, but we also have to seek solutions as well. We can't just sort of resign to the fact of having a bad memory. So let's have a look at some the reason why. Firstly, that remembering name is so difficult. And the first bit is that a name doesn't actually make any sense to us. So let's take a look at it. So if we look at a different language, someone spoke to a different language and you had no idea, well, it'll just be gobbledygook. It wouldn't make any sense. And that's what a name is. It's just almost like a different language, different system, if you like. So if someone says, their name is John, well, if there's no reference point, it's just a name. It's just words. And words in themselves don't give you meaning, right? Most of them do, the ones that you know. But the ones that you don't know, they don't give you a meaning. And if there's no meaning, there's no making sense, hence there's no recall of it. So in order to remember a name, we need to give it meaning, and then we need to make some sort of a connection, a story, an association to remember that. Now, as you know from my previous videos, we talk about making stories and connections and associations to remember things. So it's the same with names as well. In order to remember, we need to make these stories. But firstly, let's look at the name. So let's take John for example, right? If you meet a John, we think, oh yeah, hi John, how are you? The first thing that comes to your mind as an association. So we're playing word association now, and I guess in a Western sense, what I look at is, okay, John. My father-in-law's name's John, so I've got an image there. John could also mean a toilet in certain cultures, right? So let's just take the image of a toilet, so it's a bit more dramatic here. And imagine meeting that John and he's sitting in a toilet, right? You're making that story. You can make a silly little association of what he's doing in the toilet. Maybe he's reading a paper, maybe he's recording YouTube, oh, maybe not. So you see what I mean? You can make up silly little stories with the names. Let's take another name, for example. Let's take my wife's name, Monique. Right now, you're probably thinking, Monique, what can we do? It doesn't have to rhyme with anything. You can even take the start of the first name. So you can take Mon, for example. Now, Mon, it could be money. So my wife's got a lot of money, right? If she's watching this now, she's probably going, yeah, I wish. But anyway, you could say that. You can make up stories from that. Or you can say Mon, Hun, money, honey. I'll call her honey, or she's eating honey. So you meet a Monique, they're eating honey. Right? So it's all about word association and what comes into your head at the time. Now, the most challenging bit for remembering names, or remembering anything rather, is making that association. And that's where memory training comes in. So I'll put more videos on training a memory and how to encode a lot faster. So what that means is that going from 0 So total abstract name or word, to coming out with an image for it and then making the story straight away. So as memory athletes, that's what we do in competitions. We see numbers, names, cards, things that don't necessarily have meaning. We quickly, within milliseconds, convert them into images and then make up the stories. So that's what having a trained memory does. Helps you to do that a lot faster. And that transfers into real life as well, as we're seeing now with the names. So have a think about how to create word association for your names. Play around with the images, have some fun doing it. You're not always going to get it right or make some amazing stories, but it's all about practice and learning. So enjoy the process and have fun. Because if you don't have fun when you're doing this, well, there's no real point, is there? It's just, it'll become a chore. So go out there, experiment, get online or get on Facebook or LinkedIn or, Instagram, and look at some usernames and names and see if you can come up with some associations for them and stories. That's what I do, and sometimes it's quite fun. I used to have a friend who used to go on dating sites and just look at the names and faces and memorize them there. As part of their training. So you can do whatever you like. We're not short on practice for names and faces because there's thousands of people online. So you don't have to meet them all face to face to be able to practice. So have a look at that. Have a look at the systems that you can do that in, and just get out there and practice, because the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And the better you'll get at it, you'll feel more and more confident, and then you'll start looking at achieving other things as well. So give that a crack. Definitely let me know how you're going, because I'm really interested to see how you advance with remembering a name. And remember, it's difficult because we don't have a system in place and we don't know how to encode. Once you do that, all bets are off. You're able to remember names. So give it a go, and I'll see you in the next one.